So, I will be presenting a youth that I have been working with for about a month and a half. I see this youth one or maybe two times weekly for about an hour. This youth is an 8-year old boy. He is a white American who goes to a small school, maybe about 500 kids, and that's K through 12. It's a very rural area. This youth is diagnosed with ADHD and oppositional defiant disorder. There may be some other diagnoses in there. He is currently on a waiting list to go get an evaluation for autism. So, some of his strengths are he is a very kind kid. He often feels sorry for the things that he does, so he has a sense of remorse. He loves to talk about his day, what he's doing in school, what him and his friends do during school or on the weekends. He loves his family, especially his sister. Speaking about his family, he has a very supportive family. They're very supportive of him working with community resources. This youth, he does very well in school, never gives an issue to any of the adults. There's never any concern as far as school goes. Some of the challenges he's facing is sometimes this youth has trouble telling the truth. A big issue that they're having right now with him is that he's stealing a lot of snacks. This has been an ongoing concern, but more recently it's becoming more often that he's stealing, and he's stealing a lot more. He steals snacks in school and at home. Another challenge that I have come across working with this youth is he often shuts down the minute you bring up like a situation that he's not comfortable talking about. He will say, I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's making me sad. This youth also has a hard time understanding relationships. This stems from his past and the traumas that he's experienced, but he has a hard time understanding like the true meaning of a relationship and the dynamics of family and friendships. The presenting problem right now and the goal that I'm working on as his OLP counselor is to recognize and work through his past traumas. This is something that the social worker for my job determined that this is the goal that he should be working on. So, biologically, when we're talking about his biopsychosocial, biologically, he has multiple diagnoses. As I mentioned before, he has the ADHD and ODD, possibly autism. Um, he was exposed to substances in utero. His biological mother struggled with substance addiction, as well as his biological father. Psychologically, when speaking about his family relationships, he is adopted. He's been adopted since he was 5. Prior to that, he was going in and out of foster care, but every time he went into foster care, he always went with the same family, and this is the family that ended up adopting him. Physically, he is overweight. This is part of the trouble with the stealing snacks. His social skills, is socially okay in school. He does have some issues when it comes to leaving his hands off of other people's belongings. So not only is he stealing snacks from his peers, he's also stealing items, and this causes um, arguments between him and his peers and his classmates. His coping skills are sometimes good for him. Sometimes he struggles. Like I said, he will shut down instead of using his communication skills. At home, his mom tells me that when he doesn't get the things that he wants, that he'll go in his room and break things. There was an incident where I was at the house and he was told that he wasn't allowed to go outside, and he did go in his room and throw something off of his dresser and it shattered all over the floor. There are other examples of him not using his coping skills. Most of the time, when he doesn't get like a new toy that he wants, or when he's not able to go to McDonald's, he often acts out. Um, and as I mentioned before, he is adopted. So that goes into his social aspect as of the biopsychosocial. Also, as I mentioned before, his goal is to realize his past traumas and learn to work through those and how those have an effect on his life today. As far as a brief update, it's actually very interesting speaking to him because one of the first visits that I've had with him, he was very open about the things that he remembers happened to him when he was younger with his biological mother. And I, as the visits went on, have spoken to him about how he thinks that those affect his emotions and his capabilities today. So we often talk about like the snack stealing and how that relates to his past traumas because his mother did not give him hugs and kisses and love in that way. She showed love by giving snacks to him and saying like, here's this food, go sit down and watch TV. So we're the social workers in my organization is thinking that this is how he relates to love and this is how he feels love. So I'm trying to work with him so that he realizes other ways to show love and how his adopted parents show him that they love him and how he can reciprocate that feeling, leaving food out of it and having a healthy relationship with food. So that would be my role of the social worker. And that is the role of the social workers in my organization at this time is just working with the kids that are in our program on realizing what their past traumas are and how that possibly can have an effect on their emotional regulation in the present day. As far as concerns, there are a few concerns that I have. Something that I'm struggling with as the OLP on this case is that his goal is to kind of process his past traumas. And although I know that that is important, I feel like what is more important for the present day is him learning emotional regulation because it's causing a lot of chaos and um, negative feelings in his home. I speak with his mother often, and his mother is getting to the point where she just is always having negative thoughts and negative feelings about this youth. And I feel like learning emotional regulation and coping skills for what he's feeling right now, and then maybe going back and looking to see why he has these feelings would be a good idea. There are providers in the community that I have suggested the mom reach out to make that connection to help this youth. One of them being an outside therapist, as in my role, I'm limited as the social worker, as the OLP. We always suggest that the youth also see an outside therapist into the community. I've also suggested that they see a nutritionist so that maybe they can work on the relationship with food and making healthier choices because this youth is overweight and it can become concerning because he's very young. I also think that we have a program in our area. It's called the youth program, and it's where the staff will take out the youth into the community or do like group play dates, they call them. And the kids can interact with other kids their age and kind of get out of the house a little bit and see how other kids are interacting in their world. And I think that this would be good for the youth that I'm working with specifically, because when he's in his home, that's kind of all he knows. And there is a lot of other things going on in the home. So I feel there may be heightened anxiety feelings. And to remove him and give him some separation from that, and for him to be able to express himself to other youth his age would be beneficial. Working with this youth in a counseling session situation has been very awakening for me. Utilizing all of the skills that we've been learning throughout our lessons has been different for me. I've always been good about like describing what people should do, or like the deeper meaning of things and how to help people find supports. But I was in those moments in the counseling session thinking back to the lessons and things that I should say to get the youth to speak more on his emotions and his thoughts. I struggled a little bit, but I've been working with my supervisor a lot on how to keep this process going.